Hey there everybody, PTPOP here, leading you out of the rabbit hole, one grain of truth at a time, and thanks for coming back to A Mind Revolution. You know, right now, there's a lot of people around the world who are hurting, especially right now during these economic struggles that everybody's having. This is global. And these economic struggles only compound feelings of hopelessness and despair, but the truth is, many of us aren't just weighed down by money problems. Many people are depressed because of loneliness. And I definitely understand this because none of us can seem to find the true love of our life, right? We're always looking for this fictitious creature, this woman or man who's going to fulfill all of our goals. You know, our past relationships don't work out. And so millions of us are still searching for the Prince Charming or the goddess that will sweep us off our feet. We imagine a love so powerful that one moment it's mad passion, and the next it's comfort, curled up on the couch on a cool, rainy autumn day watching Turner Classic Movies, right? And I'm going to show you a montage here from Turner Classic Movies. This is from their Summer Under the Stars series that they show in August, or they had on it last August. In promos like Turner Classic Movies, Summer Under the Stars, their series they had this last August, we see endless montages of swooning lovers, passionate kisses, perfect endings. Love looks instant, dramatic, and flawless. Partners are witty, glamorous, and always know the right thing to say. Conflicts vanish in one scene and the story always ends with a kiss or a wedding, as if that's when life stops being complicated. Two people get married. And when we get into relationships as humans, not as stars, not as figures on the silver screen, our relationships never measure up to this fantasy that we see in movies or in sitcoms or we see or hear about in romance novels. We start to feel like there's something wrong when our relationships aren't as strong or as perfect as what's portrayed in these movies, right? We expect everyday life to feel like a movie montage, don't we? No. And when it doesn't, disappointment sets in. Huge disappointment, depression. These ideals, they fuel insecurities, normalize unhealthy behaviors like obsession or jealousy, and even lead to anxiety or depression. Because real love isn't always glamorous. It's human. It's oftentimes very messy. The truth is, healthy love is less about sweeping gestures and more about small, consistent actions. It's about communication, patience, and forgiveness. Real partners are flawed, imperfect people who choose to grow together. Love isn't supposed to look like a movie trailer, and that's what makes it real and lasting. You know, if we're chasing after a Hollywood fantasy, we're all going to end up depressed, right? Because if we let go of the Hollywood fantasy, nothing looks as glamorous, right? If we let go of the Hollywood fantasy, embrace the messy, imperfect reality of relationships, we can build healthier expectations and protect our mental health in the process. Now, I speak from experience on this. I completely believed these romantic movies well into my 30s. There are movies I saw like Sleepless in Seattle, you know, where I believe that whole scenario. Or You've Got Mail. You know, they portray the cute and bubbly little actress with Tom Hanks. And you think, wow, I'm going to meet somebody like that. It's going to be just so romantic. And, you know, I'm going to drive across the country and meet this woman and all that stuff. But it's of my opinion, I'm not a psychiatrist or a psychologist or sociologist, that this is leading many of us around the world into deep depression and despair because we think we've failed because we're not finding these amazing people to mate with or to cohabitate with. You know, it's life is complex. Life is not simple. Life is not solved in a 2.5-hour film. Life is not solved in a half an hour, like in a half an hour sitcom. There's disease, and there's disappointment, and there's heartache. There's addiction. There's a lot of things you've got to deal with when you're with another person that they leave out of these films. Or they make it look glamorous. They even make death look glamorous. So they make it look like the person who dies in the movie, the person who's left behind is just struggling to get by, but they put on a brave face, and they march forward in their lives without their long since past partner. And I think it's extremely difficult for people to understand that they've been programmed and hypnotized by Hollywood. They have been misled with fake stories. And the programming conditioning starts in our childhood when we start with fairy book tales. Snow White, all those people we read about as kids. Some prince comes, galloping into the village in a white stallion, looking for the perfect woman. And we all know this doesn't really happen. And it took me years to figure this out for myself. And, I don't know why, because my parents' marriage was an absolute, complete disaster. A complete disaster. Addiction, poverty, homelessness, all because my mother was, I believe, this is just my theory, I think she was obsessed with my father. She was hopelessly in love with the idea of being in love. She was hopelessly in love with my father because he was this gorgeous man with black hair and dark eyes. He was a strong, silent type. And she gave it all of her life. She dedicated everything to him to a fault. And their marriage fell apart due to alcoholism, homelessness, and a whole bunch of horrible things went on between the two of them. And when I saw that, I thought, well, I'm not going to be like that. I'm going to go out and find what they couldn't have. I'm going to go find this fantasy that my mother was chasing after the same fantasy. I don't think my father was. My father was just along for the ride. My dad was a very detached, borderline sociopath who didn't seem to have much of a care in the world about anything other than drinking, smoking cigarettes, and watching baseball. My mom, on the other hand, was a very domineering, outspoken, cultured, educated woman who had a preconceived notion of how she thought life should be, and she wasn't about to work, and she wasn't about to do anything she didn't have to do, because culture told her as a woman, you're not supposed to work. You shouldn't have to work. Your husband should do all the working, right? Their marriage fell apart, and I was convinced my life was going to be different. My life was going to be better. My life has been different, and my life has been better. But I was determined, based off of what I saw from the failure of their marriage, what I saw in Hollywood movies, I was going to find what was in those movies. I was going to go find the gorgeous woman and walk hand in hand down the street on a warm autumn day with the autumn leaves crunching beneath our feet as we wore, fuzzy sweaters and looked lovingly into each other's eyes like in some romantic movie. And I started dating when I was 15. And I dated until I met my wife when I was 36, I believe. 37. I think I met her when I was 37. And my wife is a wonderful person. She's a very level-headed, kind, thoughtful human being. But when I met her, I kept trying to, and I'd done this with all the women prior to her, I kept trying to fit her in to the fantasy in my head, whatever it happened to be, whether it was romantic or however you want to categorize. But that's what I'd done with everybody prior to that. And there were women prior to my wife where I'd give them roses and greeting cards. And why didn't she love falling in love with me? I just gave her roses, just like that guy did in the movies. You give a girl roses, they're supposed to go, oh my God, I'm so in love with you. I can't live without you, Peter. Thank you for the roses and the greeting card. And I began to get depressed and have a lot of self-doubt I didn't understand why it wasn't working. And I began to doubt myself, and I became insecure with myself, and I became insecure about my looks and my intelligence. And I thought, what more do these women want? Like, I had a nice condo, I had a brand new car, I had a great job, but none of it seemed to matter. See, when you get into relationships, you're dealing with two completely different and opposite forces. Because you've got men who are raised to be kind of the aggressive predator type, go out, find the woman. The woman is very passive. In this culture, anyone in Western culture, women are raised or they used to be raised to be kind of submissive and passive. And they need a dominant man to come in their lives and sweep them off their feet and smoke a cigar while they ride down the street on their Harley. I come in my little Honda Civic, with my 1,200 square foot condo, the southwest side of Cleveland, and nobody seemed to be impressed with that because I'm a nice guy. I'm one of these guys that wants to take care of a woman, make her feel good, and pamper her and bring her roses and flowers. But most women don't want that. You're dealing with these two weird mental makeups that are completely counter to one another. Women like to play games. They like to be made to be kept guessing. They don't want somebody who's really forward and says, "Hey, I love you. Let's get married." They want somebody to wonder if you're ever going to marry them. They want you to wonder if you're ever going to call them again. They want to wonder after the first date if you're ever going to have a second date. They like to be teased and tormented. And so a guy like me is like, "Hey, I like you. Let's go out again." They're turned off by "You're coming on too strong, man. We just went on a date a week ago. You want to go on another one that quick? There must be something wrong with this dude." I had so many women tell me, "Hey, isn't this awful soon to go on a second time?" And I think the movies also portray men to be the pursuers, women to be the receivers, the ones that are sitting back waiting for the man to show up. So it was in my day and older generations. Nowadays, it's completely different. Women are very independent and very much the aggressors and very much the ones that do the pursuing. And I think all of this weird mismatch and the weird approach that each of us take to relationships in our programming from Hollywood. When I say Hollywood, again, I'm talking about the overall Hollywood. I'm talking about music, entertainment in sitcoms, movies, Netflix, whatever you want to call it, books, romance novels. The whole thing is designed to sell books and movies and advertising. It's not designed to portray a realistic perspective of life and love and relationships. So right now, within the sound of my voice around this globe, there's millions of people who are sitting there depressed because somebody just left them. They're depressed because somebody didn't stick around. Or there's somebody that they met that they thought were going to be the greatest person in the world, but they ended up to be a drug-taking, adulterous lunatic. And they sit back and they go, "Well, how did that happen? He was so gorgeous. Oh my God, he had the perfect job, but at night at home, he's doing meth." You see, people are made to be complex when I don't think we're really all that complex, but everybody thinks they got to find this certain something in life, the meaning of life. They got to find the perfect person and the perfect job and have the perfect family and the perfect house with the perfect kids. And the reality of it is there is nothing in this world that is perfect. But these movies and the Hollywood entertainment industry, they get us going down these fairy tale lanes of make-believe, where we're walking around looking for things that don't exist. There is no perfect person. I'm not getting biblical here on you. All of us, we're all flawed in some way, and most of us in Western culture are severely flawed because we're programmed and conditioned by the world of entertainment and the world of Hollywood. Think about the love songs you hear. The song, "When a Man Loves a Woman, Can't Think of Nothing Else." You know that song. I'm not gonna sing. I'm not gonna play it because I'll get a copyright strike. But if you listen to those lyrics, the song about obsession, complete and utter obsession. It's not about love. It's about obsession. And I've been in those situations where I meet a woman and I'm completely taken by her. Years ago, there was a woman, let's say her name was Betty. There's this woman I met. She was intelligent and she had this great job and she had a family, really good family, came from money, and we got along great. And I just was completely out of my mind about Betty. I thought she was everything I'd ever wanted. Okay. But she wasn't ready for a relationship. She wasn't looking for a relationship. She had other interests. She was bisexual and she was exploring women. Okay. And you can't battle that. You can't, there's no way if you've got a woman or a man who is interested in the same sex, you're kind of out of luck on that one. And it was devastating to me because she was dating a woman, say the woman's name was like Mary. And she was dating me at the same time, but she was like, really, it was weird. That's how complex it gets, especially in this day and age now where everybody's very out about their sexual preferences and who they're attracted to. And when this woman and I stopped seeing each other, it devastated me. It really threw me for a loop. And then one day I just woke up and I forgot about her. I haven't forgotten about her totally, but she's not somebody today, like today, all these years later, I would want nothing to do with her. I don't miss her. I don't wish I had married her. I don't wish I had her family's money or the big house they lived in. I had wanted nothing to do with her because she had other issues too. She was an alcoholic. But I was willing to overlook that because, I don't know, I was obsessed. But what I'm saying is you have these preconceived notions based off of how you're programmed and conditioned and your upbringing in Hollywood. Hollywood will tell you have a drink every now and then, it's okay, you're just having a good time. So what that she's bisexual, you can win her over. You just, give her some flowers and a greeting card and you can win her over, It's that kind of thing that gets into your head. And if we let go of the Hollywood fantasies, as I said before, and embrace the messy and perfect reality of relationships, we can build healthier expectations and protect our mental health in the process. And there's many of you out there that are very sad right now because somebody left you. And I can't tell you, well, you're better off without her or him. I can't say that because people have said that to me and I'm like, yeah, whatever. It's taken me years sometimes to realize, that person wasn't right. But the reality of it is the relationships that we're all seeking don't seem natural, do they? Does it seem natural to want to cohabitate with somebody and live with one person forever and ever? To kind of enter into the self-imposed imprisonment? Where you're supposed to just live life, love, and just be like, darling, look at me, kiss me, darling. I will make you toast in the morning and bring it to you in bed. And when it doesn't happen, you get so depressed because it's not real. You have bought into fantasies. The people you see in the movies are playing make-believe. They have a writer who wrote a story that's in fantasy land that they're acting out. They're playing make-believe. There's hundreds of thousands of movies out there that tell you, like there's a movie called Arthur with Dudley Moore where he somehow, he beds a lot of hookers. Then he meets this woman who is he's wealthy. If you've never seen the movie Arthur with Dudley Moore, he's very wealthy and he'll be disinherited unless he marries this woman named Susan, who his family wants him to marry. It's kind of an arranged marriage because she's from money, he's from money. They don't want him to dare go outside of the family. So he meets Liza Minnelli, who's a waitress in like a diner in New York City, and she's blue collar, lower class. Father sits at home unemployed and a stained wife beater. And he doesn't want to live up to the expectations of his family. He doesn't want to give into it. But the movie is so romanticized. He's drunk in the movie. Arthur played by Dudley Moore, is an alcoholic. He's a severe alcoholic. He's constantly drunk, but they portray it as if it's funny. They portray alcoholism as if it's fun. Just have a couple drinks, have a good laugh. Oh, hey, have you seen the other half of that moose? You know? Oh my God. Hey, Liza, would you marry me? He's taking the knife out of the cake. Yeah. And it's sad, really. It's sad the way that they try to make light of alcoholism, and I've seen the devastating effects alcoholism has on a family. It's horrific. And it's, in our case, it was just as bad as heroin or meth or fentanyl or any of those things. You know, alcohol took over my father's life, and I don't know if it ever let go. He spent every dime on booze and broads. He was a womanizer, was a drunk. He didn't give a shit whether any of us lived or died, including my mother and my 3 siblings. He would rather go out and drink than put a roof over our head. It's horrific, and Hollywood portrays alcoholism as this fun thing. We're gonna go out and have fun. Oh, you're a hooker. Oh, I thought I was just getting along with you really well. Oh, it's so funny. You know, the same thing with Andy Griffith and Otis, the town drunk that goes into the jail cell. You give him the keys to the jail cell, and he locks himself up at night. My dad was the town drunk. Life is incredibly messy and painful and confusing. And when you add this fantasy world that they want you to believe in, this horrible fantasy world of love forever, love at first sight, you're going to meet, your eyes are going to meet from across the room, and you're going to float across the dance floor and embrace and a long kiss, and the next thing you'll hear wedding bells, then you'll have 2.5 kids and a golden retriever with a picket white fence. It's all a lie. It's not that easy. It's never that easy. You can have all those things, but there's a lot of things that have to take place behind the scenes to keep it going. And it is extremely hard. And if I could have any message to any of you out there that are severely depressed because you've lost someone or because you're not finding the love of your life, focus on what's right in front of you now and realize that you are all you need. Not love is all you need. You are all you need. And hang out with people that are positive and good to you. Don't worry about falling in love. Don't worry about getting married. Don't worry about finding that special someone. Because how many thousands of people have I met in life? Some people I know have been married 3 to 5 times. People from high school. 3 to 5 times. I'm not putting them down. I never would put them down. Marriage is extremely hard, and everybody told me that when I got married. But the things you're seeing when you're standing outside of somebody's front door and you're looking inside, whether it's through Facebook and TikTok or just literally talking to them in their front yard, there's other things going on behind the scenes that you have no idea. Might look like they have the perfect life, but behind the scenes, there's a whole different world of things going on. Turbulence, there's fights, there's disagreements, there's money issues, there's health issues. I can almost name everybody on this street. Everybody's struggling with something right now. Much of it is health issues. And if it's going to help you at all, the things you see in the movies, don't try to strive for that, because you're not going to find perfection. You're not going to find some gorgeous man or woman who's going to be perfect, in every way and court you and cater to you and pay for everything. It just doesn't work that way. You'll be much happier if you focus on you and you focus on your immediate family, if you have one. You'll be much happier if you focus on your friends and the people that seem to care about you. They're around you a lot. Take care of you. People try to tell me this when I was a kid. No, don't worry about that girl. Just take care of yourself. Somebody would break up with me and my mom would say, you don't know how lucky you are. Just consider yourself lucky that she's gone, because I can tell you she was no good. And I'd be like, oh, what the hell do you know? But my mom was always right. She was right about every single woman who she met prior to her passing. And look back, I'm like, wow, she was right. The world is making us unhappy. Hollywood is making us depressed. Hollywood is turning us into these really sad, depressed, unmotivated, lethargic slugs. We're all depressed because we can't find a perfect job. We can't find the perfect woman, and we can't find $1 million and a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, because none of it exists. You're spinning your wheels, and they want you spinning. They want you distracted. They want you complacent. They want you lost in a fantasy world because they can control you. And they distract you with bread and circuses. They distract you with the hope of happily ever after. They distract you with the idea of becoming a rock star, a movie star, or a famous writer, or a famous social media expert or influencer. They distract you with searching for that perfect job that makes you $1 billion and you can retire early. I'm telling you guys, I've had money. I've had brand new houses. I've always driven brand new cars, and all of it is a lot of work. You got money, you got to make sure you keep that money. And you got to make sure you spend within a certain budget. You got to make sure whoever's handling the money isn't running off with your money. You have to have people around you that you trust. And I haven't had the kind of money where we need people, managing our own money, but you got to keep your eye on it. You got to keep your eye on it at the bank. And if you have investments, for every action, there's a reaction. And I'd like you to take a look at these films, watch Turner Classic Movies, and watch some of these movies and go, is life really like this? Are women really this beautiful all the time? Have you ever seen some of these movies where the women wake up and they're gorgeous in the morning? That doesn't work like that in real life. No woman I've ever woken up next to rolls over in bed, looks like she did the night before. It's like, oh, who is that? No makeup on. Like, oh, they look kind of like Zontarsky here. Same with guys. I roll out of bed, I look like Jack Nicholson in terms of a different, like, hi, darling. Can you tell me what time it is, hon? I scratch my beer belly, Unfortunately, life isn't pretty. Life isn't condensed into 2 hours. Life doesn't have a sunset waiting for you, but you make the most out of you and look into you and what you like, discover yourself, and be happy with who you are. I guarantee you this, you will find contentment. Content with who you are, whether there's somebody in it or not. And I'll be 60 this October, and I just found this out about myself. Like, only thing I need is enough money to get by, because who knows how much longer I've got it at the age of 60. Maybe I'll live 20 years. My dad's dad lived to be 82. Maybe I've got 22 years left, if I'm lucky. Chances of me being 90, I doubt it. I could step out of here today and get hit by a bus, but I know that right now I like me. I like who I am. I'm not conceited. I don't walk around with a big head. I'm a talented artist. I'm an intelligent man who's secure in himself. I'm not interested if like I've said before, if my wife kicked me out the door tomorrow, I'd be done. I'm not looking for anybody else. For the first time in my life, I wouldn't want to be in another relationship. I'm just like, yeah, okay, I think I've seen enough. I'm done with it. Thanks there, universe. Because what happens when you start meeting other people are trapped in that psychology of Hollywood. And everybody has this idealized person that they want to meet. Especially the really good looking women. The really good looking women want the really good looking guy who's got the Porsche, who'll pay for their nails and their hair and their makeup. And I don't want a woman like that. I wouldn't want anything to do with one of those glam chicks that you see with the big lips. There's like a little bit of vomit in the back of my mouth when I think of these women. I wouldn't want to kiss somebody with those big, ugly lips. They look like bass. They look like trout walking on two legs with breasts. Disgusting women. Just disgusting. And if they smoke and they get a cigarette stuck in that big plastic pie hole of theirs, oh, forget it. I'd vomit on their shoes. They're $2,000 whatever shoes, Gucci shoes or whatever the hell they're wearing. They wouldn't want anything to do with me anyway. I don't have enough money, and I'm not good looking enough for a broad like that. They're broads. And I've met so many women just since I've been married, just musicians and artists and people on the side, and people are just a mess. Women are a mess. And it's like, forget it. So going back to this Turner Classic Movie thing, watch this trailer, go to Turner Classic Movies, and look for the Hollywood Fantasy, the whole Summer of the Stars. And just look at the trailer. You know, you've got all these famous people. Just, oh my God, darling. Yes. Oh, embrace me, kiss me. It's a kiss like I've never had. You know, I've had relationships like that, and they burn out fast. I've been in relationships where the women are just amazingly crazy and kinky in the bedroom, but outside the bedroom, it doesn't last. You know, a lot of them are crazier than a football bat that are really good in the bedroom. I've met some real doozies in my day, and I'm more than happy that they're not around anymore. I guarantee you this, if you stop believing in the Hollywood hype and the propaganda about love, focus on you and find out what really you, whether you're an artist, if you want to be an artist like me. I'm an artist. I can actually say I'm an artist. Do I make a living at it? No. But I know I create good art. And I know I have work that has won awards, and I'm accomplished. And I feel good about that. I don't want world fame. I don't want paparazzi at my door. That'll just add more craziness to your life. Focus on you, man. Focus on who you are, who you want to be. Be a little bit selfish. Stop worrying about somebody else adding to your life, somebody to come floating into your world and telling you, oh, you're gorgeous. I love you so much. And sometimes when I make these videos, I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you, but I'm also talking to me. I have been self-counseling myself for 30, 40, well, more than that. Well, almost 40 years. And just talking to myself, you know what? Hey, you ever notice that nobody's life is all that particularly great? No reason to get depressed. But if you stop chasing after unrealistic things and you realize you're chasing after the unobtainable, and you focus on what's the only thing you have is you'll find happiness. That's what I did. I found contentment and peace of mind because I've stopped chasing after the fairy tales. Well, I don't know, maybe, something different will happen to me. Somebody will call me up and say, I want to publish your books or something. I had that too. I had somebody call me up for my book, Breathe, John Lennon Conspiracy to Murder. The plug for my book, sure, it's a book about John Lennon not really killing himself, that he faked his own death. But this woman calls me up from California. She's a publisher. She says, I want to publish your book. She was an agent. She wasn't a publisher. She was an agent. She's like, I've got people that want your book. So for months, I talked to this woman. I've sent your book to this publisher. Now, nobody wanted the book, or they wanted me to change it. And it went on and on and on. Months, like a year, I talked to this woman. And finally, I just stopped talking to her. She was a total lunatic. I mean, I looked her up. She was an agent. She was a writer's agent, I guess. But I finally just like, screw it. This woman's not doing anything. She has no pull. My point is, it was frustrating. It was like, okay, what's the point of talking to this woman if she's not going to get me a gig? Guys, focus on reality, what you have right here and right now. You know, whether it's a rubber Halloween mask or a pair of glasses, or just you, your body, who you are right now. Think about somebody coming into your life to make it better. Be like Mike. Be all you can be. Don't join the army. You can find it within yourself. You can find, I'm not saying love yourself. I'm saying find who you are. Because once you find yourself and you discover who you are, what you like, what you dislike, what your real beliefs are, you'll find contentment. So I hope that helps you out somewhat. That's how I did it. I'm not always happy. No, I'm not sitting here in a blissful life, just sitting on a cloud. But I have found a lot of the things I used to chase after were not real. They got us chasing after ghosts, and they've got us on snipe hunts, and we're trying to chase the wind and catch rainbows. And they've wasted our time. They've distracted us. Focus on you. You are all you got. And you are the only person that's going to care about you, and you are the only person that's going to protect you and look out for you. Nobody else is going to do it, because everybody walks into your life, they have an agenda. They have something, whether they want from you or they're totally uninterested. They just have you in their lives just because they need people around them. I tell you what, if you can be content by yourself and enjoy your time alone, you got it made. I'm PTPOP. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. If you want to see this, it'll be on YouTube. You can see the Turner Classic Movie montage about love. All right, have a good day. Hasta la vista, baby. Now walk 1,000 miles in your shoes. My heart is torn and tattered, my ego bruised. Then I think I understand you now. Yes, I understand.